9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Justin Bieber. Yo, what up? This is Lunch Money Lewis.
What's up? This is David Guetta.
Hey guys, I'm Kyle.
NetSupport Radio. You're listening to Russell Prue.
Hi guys, I'm Iggy Azalea and Charlie XCX.
Powered by Anderton Tiger, the official broadcaster of Bett 2023.
Thank you. It is 3 o'clock on Friday, the 31st of March 2023. It's the last day of our tax year. My goodness. Hope you're all paid up to date for that. And the last day of term as we go into our Easter break. Engines have started. I bet the staff are already out of the car park. Bless you all. We can't leave here until at least 5 o'clock. That's when the show closes here for the last day of Bett. It's me, Russell Prue. We are live this afternoon from the world's biggest educational technology event here at London Docklands, the Excel Exhibition Theatre. My goodness, we've had lots of people through the doors today, and I have a cracking, nay, amazing show with you. Our top guest today is the fabulous Michael Rosen, who joins us later on. We've got Maria Wojciechowska-Kaneda, we've got Ian Phillips, we've got Emma Hawker, we've got lots of young children, we've got Jane Basnet on the show, my goodness, Jeremy Waters, and more still. Let's start with our catch-up with the fabulous Al Kingsley. He is up first. Don't forget, you can contact me. I'd love to hear from you. Here is my text details. Drop us a text for a mention on the show.
Contact the show right now. Just send a text message to 07 8600 26 400. NetSupport Radio, powered by Anderton Tiger, the official broadcaster of Bett 2023.
Welcome to our Day 3 catch-up with the fantabulous Al Kingsley. Al is here. How's your Day 3 been?
It's doing pretty well considering the achy feet and back and everything else, but it has been a nice, pleasant surprise for a Day 3, I think.
It's been really good. What do you know today you didn't know yesterday?
Ross, you hit me with a question like that. I think what I know, the biggest one is that actually the future of EdTech is secure, because I've spent the last hour and a half at Bett Futures, hosting a session with lots of new early stage startups, talking about the innovation that they're creating. Some are still on a journey, naturally, but it's great to see. And I've seen solutions to support with students with neurodiversity, well-being, acquisition of language skills, different approaches to phonics. There's such a diversity of ideas. It's great to see that, the future Bett halls and the future stands that we'll encounter, are really going to be responding to what we see as the real needs in our education system right now.
Good. I'm not at all surprised you're hosting something else. I mean, you are out and about like you can't believe it. And there have been some really good seminars this year. Some cracking content.
Honestly, I mean, every year we always say, one of the key drivers for coming to Bett is the professional development and the seminars. But there has been a real range. And what I think is really nice is they have really consciously curated to make sure we've got that real breadth and diversity of topics. Something for everyone, I guess, is the simple mantra on that one, isn't it, Ross?
I believe you're absolutely right on that one as well. Stand-wise for you, professionally and for the company?
The stand, I think we've got a good spot. I'm really pleased with the stand. Customers like the way we're trying to communicate and message, really clear what we're about. But most importantly of all, it's Day 3, so I get to just be a little bit soft and mushy and say how proud I am of my team. The team at NetSupport, it's a big family of which you are also part, Russ, as you know, and it's just been a lovely week of everybody working together, trying to make sure we can share the love, share our experiences and listen. And actually the listening skills, I think, are the thing that I really notice. Listen to our customers first and then talk afterwards.
That's always a good rule as well. And you've produced some great video material this year. Groundbreaking. We've had the video producer Caitlin on it. Some amazing work.
She has done some fantastic stuff. I'm also aware she's done some very late nights editing and rendering, so we've got a daily update. And honestly, I just look at them and I think that is... there's no direction from anybody else. She just gets it. She wants to capture the mood, the atmosphere, what we do. The fun that also is part of a trade show, the fun and the sharing. So been really, really proud of Caitlin's efforts. And collectively across the team. We've got a new faces and they've all joined in the Bett experience. We've also had our friends at A&ME who have, as always, been a great integral part of the stand through the week. And then I can't but not mention it, that you have been flat out meeting, challenging, supporting so many different people, and alongside that we've had today particularly lots of young people that you've been sharing your experiences with the radio stations and the craft that you go and take into schools to share and educate our learners. And it's been lovely once again to have you as that kind of anchor point on our stand, Russ.
You're very kind. I think we produced some of the best radio here as well. Yesterday was a stonking show with some great expertise that I just did not expect from lots of contributors. And don't forget, you can catch all of that on netsupportsoftware.com/radio. Simply go there and listen to any of our shows again. And again, we've got an amazing show coming up later on in the next couple of hours. So amazing. I can't tell you, I will be pleased to pack this up. I really will be pleased. It's been exhausting, Al.
I can see that, but as always, the consummate professional, it is like every show, it's tough, but it's nice when you realise that you really have achieved something, and as you said, we've got some great experiences to share. So head over to the radio show, and as always, huge thanks to you, Russell.
You're very welcome. Thank you. We produce some great content. It's a privilege to be at the centre of that. Al Kingsley, thanks for joining us.
You're listening to Russell Prue, broadcasting on the Anderton Tiger Radio Network.
Just a different selection of music.
I like the variety.
The variety.
Just the variety.
I never turn it off.
Good music.
Amazing. Just amazing.
Plays really good music.
Very good.
By far my favorite station.
You're the best. Oh, yeah.
I love you guys.
Powered by Anderton Tiger, the official broadcaster of Bett 2023.
Hello, my name is Sienna. Thanks for welcoming me on the show.
Hello, my name is Chloe. Thanks for having me on the show.
Hello, my name is Evie. Thank you for having me on the show.
Hello, my name is Dexter. Thank you for having me on the show.
A big hello to the children from Galley Primary School. Good to have your company. Thank you so much indeed. There's plenty more of that coming at you. It's been a very interesting day in the news. My goodness, Heathrow Airport not looking good, folks, if you are looking to travel from there this weekend. 1,400 staff from the Unite Union are taking strike action. It's going to be tricky with that baggage check-in there, so our hearts and our thoughts, well, probably not in 100%, are with you all, trying to squeeze your holiday through the tiny portal that is Heathrow Airport, trying to get to your well-deserved destination. It's going to be a tricky journey for you as well. In other news, folks, Ed Sheeran wants to be on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Wonders will never cease. Good luck with that, Ed. Apparently he's a big fan of the show. Next up, a great conversation with Jane Basnett. You're listening to Russell Prue Live. It is 8 minutes past 3. We are broadcasting our third and final radio show from Bett here at the London Docklands Excel Conference Centre. Good to have your company this afternoon. Stay with me. It's not going anywhere. Joining me live in the studio is Jane Basnett, who's simply just stopped by for a chat.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. What's brought you to Bett today?
Well, I wanted to come and see all the fantastic goings on. I was actually really keen to go and have a little explore of VR and AR and, just inform myself a little better. And you know what the other one was, Russell? Esports.
And do you feel informed now?
Oh, I really do. I've learned a lot this morning. I've even learnt some things from you as well, Russell.
You're very kind. What have you learnt from me, Jen?
Well, you showed me your amazing radio station that you set up for students in primary and secondary schools, and I'm really interested and excited.
Even more reason to talk to you, which is really good. What do you think about the esports thing, the whole esports thing?
I think I've still got a lot to learn, Russ. Do you know much about it?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, you do? Well, I think I would love it, but I was brought up on Donkey Kong and Pac-Man.
There's nothing wrong with that. If you could turn that into a multiplayer, multi-observing environment, then you're kind of looking at the esports thing, when it becomes a collaborative,
communicative,
that would do activity where we're all competing against each other.
Building resilience as well.
That sounds
I
good
guess.
to me. Sounds good. Ticks a lot of the boxes there.
I guess it's all about those soft skills, right?
Perfect. Yes, I would say they're not as soft as they used to be. They're now more essential than they would be.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, when good manners opens more doors than good qualifications, when your ability to communicate and explain things are now how people appraise you more quickly than looking at your CV. You know, particularly in your setting, you know, everyone's going to have exceptionally good qualifications. Oh, yes, we've done the Duke of Edinburgh. I've done. What else have you done?
Yeah.
So what's your extra? What's your unique selling particular? I run a radio station. We did a charity show and got 10,000 quid for our local charity. Oh, my goodness. Here's me on the radio interviewing the local bishop.
Yes.
Click play. But things that open more doors like that.
Definitely.
And confidence with language is very important. Even in our more able and talented young folks, they're the ones, I think, who benefit enormously from a radio station investment, because when they're writing their script, they just keep doing it beautifully.
Yeah.
And you can't do that. We're live in 10, but I'm not ready.
Thinking on our feet. That's what matters.
So important. When considering it, even to admission to a higher or further education establishment, there's going to be an interview. Someone's going to ask you some questions you hadn't prepared for. What are you going to say?
It's so true. It's so true. That's what I'm here for. You know, what next? We are, you know, in my setting, we're a one-to-one surface school, you know, and we've got MIE experts in the school, etc., etc. We're a showcase school, and the students know how to use their devices, but actually, you know, what is it that's going to give them something more when they go on?
Competent, confident young people who feel they've contributed to the success of their environment.
And I think we should be equipping them with the kind of things that they're going to be doing beyond school. It's just, we've moved beyond.
We don't know what that is. That's the trouble. We've never, you know, it's not, who would have thought, someone said on the radio this week, someone said, who would have thought the head of an online bookshop would be the richest person on the planet? Who would have thought that 20 years ago?
I didn't know that.
Who would have thought that head of Amazon would have been the richest person on the planet?
I wouldn't. Okay, so when I went into teaching, I wouldn't have imagined the job that I do now. And so that's even my lifetime. So for the students, they're going to be doing loads of different jobs that they don't know about.
It's getting faster and it's accelerating, which is what it means. It's lovely to chat with you. I'm pleased you've had a positive experience. You'll be able to find this recording as a podcast afterwards and share it with your disciples at the school. They'll be thrilled to hear from you.
I will look forward to sharing that with my staff and the pupils at Downhouse. They ought to get that in there.
Oh, that's very kind of you. I wasn't felt able to mention it, but now you've mentioned it as well. It'd be really good. And I'd be delighted to talk more about the radio for you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Russell. Really enjoyed it.
Get on down and party.
The first cut on this record has been cross-format focused for airplay success.
Oh, yeah! NetSupport Radio, powered by Anderton Tiger, the official broadcaster of Bett 2023.
It is the best station.
They have a variety of music.
It's a wide variety.
You're listening to Russell Prue.
Good to have company, folks. It's 13 minutes past 3. We are utterly and totally live across the planet, and as if by magic, a major contributor, a major disruptor. This is Mr. Disruptive Pants himself. Nick Corsten from Steamco is here. He's the guy with a rocket. What trouble is he? He's big trouble. Nick, how are you?
You keep out of my pants, Russell Prue. I've spent a week looking for you. I've been here 3 days, and the last hour I find you in a corner. Fantastic.
Well, there's an app, mate. If you've not downloaded the app, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to find your way. What are you up to?
I'm wondering. I'm ploughing the floorboards, if you like, looking for inspiration, looking for ideas, looking for old connections, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. We did a teach meet last night, a live stream teach meet from a cardboard oil rig outside the Bett Centre. I mean, beat that, Russ. Well, actually, you will. I'm not going to challenge you.
Well, I'd say we need another oil rig, like another hole in the head, don't we? Really, honestly, it was really good. But I love your brilliant graphics and the way you do it, and just take young people to a different space, and I think that is magical. But you're also quite disruptive. You are challenging, and you like to put creativity at the front of everything you do.
Absolutely. I always have to remind people what I do, Russ, actually, and that's very much to champion creativity, to inspire creativity, but as you know, we have to be doing something, so I like to ignite creativity with creativity days, workshops in schools. But what really struck me here actually was a couple of weeks ago, the new technology minister, actually, Michelle Donnellan, who was prior to that the culture minister, and prior to that was in the DFE of all places. She was in Bloomberg announcing for Treasury that the UK is going to be number one in AI and tech. I thought, great, let's have some faith, let's have some belief, brilliant, we'll stand with that, whatever. And then she said, but at the moment we have vacancies in the IT sector that represent a loss to UK GDP of, how much do you think, Russell? How much do you think?
Billions. It's in the billions.
It's 150 billion
I'm not at all
pounds a year.
surprised. That does not shock me.
And I hate to say, I'm not going to get political on the show because I know you don't like that, but we've got a lovely little hashtag that one of your contributors earlier gave us, actually, long COVID. Because we've focused almost relentlessly on literacy and numeracy, which are obviously important, but at the expense of other skills that a lot of young people desperately need. Tech literacy in its broadest sense, as well as coding and those things. And there aren't many jobs that won't require tech literacy in the future. I see you've got a couple of laptops down there, Russell. It even got you in the end, didn't it?
Of course it did. They can't do virtual live broadcasting across the planet without those kind of literacies. But what worries me enormously is that other countries, other nations are doing it better than us. For example, Wales. You don't have to go too far. Whip across the bridge there, and they have adopted a new, completely creative curriculum. It's exciting, it's vibrant. They've put creativity at the start. The Arts Council are involved. Graham Donaldson's written a crackingly exciting new curriculum, and the schools are getting involved. They're not the richest of schools, but they're scraping money together to buy radio stations. I have 25 radio stations in Wales, and that has happened in the last 5 years because they're scrambling to get opportunities for creativity. It's quick, it's easy. You know how this kind of works for everyone. Everyone's got a face for radio. It just works, whatever. What are we doing here?
Well, how long have you got? Not
poetry.
Very long for that one.
I love the way. Let's talk more about your rockets. I love the way you get to schools with explosives and you set rockets off in the playground. How's that going?
Well, I must admit, I don't like being put in a box called the Rocket Man box, so that's a banging tune. But no, for me, it's an engagement platform. It's a great way of inspiring kids, talking to them about aiming higher than high, what could be higher than a dynamite rocket, but it also gets the parents involved. And there's no happier moment in my working week when I let a dynamite rocket off and you've got the parents standing there, you've got carers, you've got the staff, you've got the children. And I always go up to, and they're all screaming and they just can't believe the buzz. And I always go up to the school leader and say, what do you think of that? And the really perfect answer is not, the kids enjoyed it, because no, Sherlock, really, children are going to enjoy something like that. But the important thing for me is, did your colleagues enjoy it? Did it help? Did they get something from being off curriculum? Did your community enjoy it? Are those children going to talk about what they did at school with their families that evening? Because if we can build those bridges between school and home, I think we're making major inroads, and that's really what STEAMco's always been about. It's been about connecting kids with their art and our communities with our schools. And I think there'll be a lot of benefits, because if communities start understanding what goes on in our schools, start understanding the work of leaders and teachers in schools, there's going to be a much greater empathy there, which I think is going to play to everybody's favour.
Amen. You're talking to the converted here. Now, folks want to connect with you, want to book you, they want you to bring a shed load of explosives. But I mean, you said people standing by, not to mention the health and safety officer, and of course just an environmental service. I love it. It's so exciting. It's this level of disruption we need. Where can folks connect with you, Nick?
It's just check us out on STEAMco, #RocketKids23, #OurCreativity23. And I've got a massive announcement for you, Russell Prue, actually. I've just had a message this morning. Every year there's a festival in Brixton, in Brockwell Park called the Brockwell Bounce. So they have a weekend festival for the public. Last year, Madness one weekend, and another weekend, another load of bands. And in the middle, the council insists that they run a community festival in the middle. We've just been only given the big top for the day.
Wow, amazing.
Big screen, 100 kilowatt PA, big sound system, light show, and I need to get people down there. So I think we'll have to work out a little creative competition.
Congratulations.
So thanks for your support, Russell.
Always
it's been a long time now, 8 years since Wellington College, I think.
It's not a bad history, is it? My goodness.
Thanks a lot.
Great to talk to you. You're an amazing man, doing great work. Nick Corsten, ladies and gentlemen, from STEAMco. What a dude and a half.
Contact the show right now. Just send a text message to 07 8600 26 400.
Listeners, in my quest to bring you a plethora of guests across the industry sectors, I have in front of me Jeremy Waters, who is from Elastic Learning. I couldn't resist that. Elastic Learning. It sounds like a trousers you'd buy from Marks and Spencer's for gentlemen of a certain age. How exciting. Jeremy, welcome to the show. Tell me what you're doing, what you're doing here.
Russell, it's great to be here and thank you for having me. We've had a great bet so far with the Elastic team and learning a lot as well. But day 3 and it's a real privilege to be on your show today.
You're very welcome. It's a pleasure to have me. Tell me what Elastic Learning does.
Well, we work with schools in Australia and the United Kingdom. We acknowledge that schools are data rich but insight poor, so we help schools understand the gaps that are impeding student progression. So schools do many assessments, and often just to get a top superficial level of data, we help schools aggregate assessment data, bring it to life, and then derive the gaps that are impeding student progression on an individual performance base or in groups or classroom or whole school. We're able to also provide content to fill those gaps to support the teacher.
And what form does that take? Is that a boffin in a tall pointy hat, or is there some interface or something? As an educator, what does my interface look like? What does it look like?
Yeah, well, it's an online interface where the teachers log in, students as well. And the teachers are able to derive insights that come from the data. More and more we see schools become proficient at storing a lot of data, but often that can cause overwhelm for teachers where there's so much assessment and testing going on. Where do they even begin? What does a 10 out of 20 mean? What does an A mean? But what we do through the lens of curriculum linking and expert knowledge of certain areas of teaching and supporting teachers to save time, we enable them to pull out the information that's important. So we save them time, but we also help them to be more enhanced and effective in the classroom in their decision making.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. I didn't even knew we needed this, which is really, and is that a challenge when you're conveying that? People just...
Yeah, it can be. I mean, the market is deep and wide, and certainly for me, being in the Australian market and coming to the United Kingdom, I'm learning a lot about how there are many different players and how to engage with schools. Certainly at the beginning of the journey, a lot of schools wanted to bundle us up into the assessment world, but what we've proven is that we're very different to large assessment providers, that we're there to support the teacher. Being a former teacher myself, my wife's a teacher and my mother's a teacher, I have a deep understanding of education, and what's important is we keep the best teachers in the trade. More and more we see teachers leaking out of education and going into other industries. We've got to support them. It's not about taking their jobs away from them, it's about supporting them, and data itself, the richness of data can be a support and not a hindrance, but you do require a tool like Elastic to allow the teachers to unlock its essence and its potential.
It's a bit like having an intelligent investigator kind of thing. I like the idea of that.
Yeah.
Again, saving a bit of time there, and I just don't want an average or a meridian average. I need some intelligent data collection, which I think is perfectly okay. I get it. I'm excited.
Thank you.
You have excited me. I like that. I wasn't sure I was going to be excited, but with a company name like that, we had to chat. Where can folks connect with you? Where's the website? Where do I find out more?
Yeah, so we're actually located on the DIT stand this year. We're partnering with them. They're helping us explore other regions outside the UK. We're elastic.com. Elastic is spelled with a K and not a C. The name originally was derived from potential energy and pulling back, if you think of a bow and arrow, and releasing, and propelling a student forward. So that was the fulcrum of the name and where that came from.
Nothing to do with stretchy pants, which I am delighted for as well. Jeremy, it's great to chat with you. Continue to have an amazing bet, and thanks for joining us and bringing this to our attention. I love it.
What a great experience. It's been fun. Thank you.
Bless you.
The sky's the limit with NetSupport's award-winning software solutions.
Very good afternoon to you listeners. It is National World Backup Day. Just to remind you folks, it's the 31st of March. Time to back up those phones, back up those devices, back up your life. Do it if you can. It's World Backup Day. I just wanted to put that out to you. It's currently 24 minutes past 3 and it's author hour here. Well, I wish I could give her an hour. I'd love to. It's lovely. You wait all day for an author and then one eventually pops up. I have with me the fabulous Beverly Clark, who is the author of Smart City. Beverly, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We haven't even had a chance to pre-chat, as we like to do with our guests, because we are mid-live show. What brings you to Bett and what's happening?
Wow, what brings me to Bett? It's the EdTech event of the year. I'm networking with loads of people from around the world and from across the UK. And also it's an absolutely great opportunity to promote my own work, my consulting, my authoring and my coaching work that I do.
Brilliant. Tell me about the book here. So I've got Smart City in my hand. Looks like a beautiful title here. Illustrated by the fabulous Terry Cooper. Amazing. Nice piece of work. Who's this aimed at? What's it about?
Okay, so during the pandemic, I sat down and thought, there's a couple of things I've been hearing for many, many years, and it's there aren't enough women in tech, and we know this to be true with the statistics, and also there aren't enough women from underrepresented groups. And I thought, I'm a leader in education, I fit these groups, I'm going to do something about this, and I'm going to write for children. So I started writing. Thank you. And so I wanted it to be an adventure story based upon some of the childhood stories that I've written, read adventure stories, and I penned the digital adventures of Ava and Chip. And I thought I'd write one book. It turned out to be a series. And book one is called Smart City. So Ava and Chip travel with their mom, so it's modeled upon myself, from where they live to a smart city. And they learn about data collection, how data is turned into information. They learn about cameras and sensors and algorithms. And they have conversations with their mom as they travel through the smart city. And it's designed basically to encourage conversation between parents and their children, and also to be used in classroom settings and can be used to support the curriculum. And it's this whole thing of fostering reading for pleasure, so that young people can start reading about technology for pleasure.
Absolutely right. Michael Rosen is my next guest on the show, and he is saying exactly that. I met with him earlier this morning because he's currently on stage, and my last guest was telling me he's running late. Are you in trouble? I said no, I anticipated such things, and he's already in the can. But I can just preempt that for you. He is saying exactly the same, because I asked him, what can we do as educators to encourage that reading for pleasure? If it's not a reading household. I mean, colleagues can only do so much, but if it's not a reading household, we've got some extra barriers to get through. I'm just looking through the book here, which you very kindly let me have a look through, and you've got those key words beautifully emboldened in block text, so they stand out. So, sensors, what a lovely word there, and smart city and algorithm, these words, and smartphones, they jump off the page to you. So this is a very smart book.
Oh, thank you very much. The thing is, we've got all of this technology around us. Book 2 is called Self-Driving Car. For example, in Oxfordshire, there is an autonomous bus stop. Autonomous vehicles are here. It isn't some distant technology, something for the future. It's right here, right now. And our young people need to understand and question what's happening. They need to start asking questions about bias and algorithms. They need to understand how tech is working for them. It isn't good enough to say tech is for someone else. All of us need to understand the impact of tech upon ourselves, our communities, and our societies.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Thank you, Beverly. This is fantastic. It's lovely to meet you. Folks, Smart City, amongst the other publications published by Jelly Bean Books, available from Amazon. You're looking for Smart City, written by Beverly Clark. Beverly, an amazing contribution to the well-being of young people. Spot on, beautifully done. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for the interview. It's been great. Thank
Bless you. Have a lovely Easter break. If you're taking a break, don't go to Heathrow Airport. If you're flying, take a holiday. Take a staycation here, because it's chaos.com there.
I will be staying in Wiltshire.
Good for you. Wait till I phone. That's a lovely. That's a high concentration of radio stations in Wiltshire schools. Very creative bunch there. The authority really did look after their primary schools. So there's lots of radio stations there as well. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. Good luck with the next project, and happy writing.
Thank you very much. Have a great day. Thanks to everyone listening. Thank you.
Brilliant there. Beverly Clark, folks. I'll put details of her details on the website for you in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. More still to come.
Bett 2023.
Every song totally rocks.
It's awesome.
It's all about my kind of music.
My kind of music.
You're listening to Russell Prue, broadcasting on the Anderton Tiger Radio Network.
Get on down and party.
Don't understand what's going on here.
The first cut on this record has been cross-format focused for airplay success.
NetSupport Radio, powered by Anderton Tiger, the official broadcaster of Bett 2023.
Lovely lady. Amazing contribution. I just love chatting with her. Just quite impromptu, and that's the beauty of Bett itself. It is 3:30, folks. Time to join Michael Rosen. Aren't we thrilled?
NetSupport Radio, powered by Anderton Tiger, the official broadcaster of Bett 2023.
Listeners, I'm thrilled, nay, super excited to be live with the fabulous, the national treasure that is Michael Rosen. Michael, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me. Yeah.
Amazing. How are you?
I'm good. COVID did knock out my left eye and my left ear and made my toes numb. But apart from that, the rest of me seems to be pretty good.
You've continued writing, and you've written amazingly well since. We've had some great titles from you as well. What does the future hold generally for you? I know you're here to talk. You've got a keynote presentation that we're all really looking forward to. What can folks expect from you there?
The future, blimey. Well, there's a couple of books coming out this year. There's a book about a bear, a little bear that's worried whether it's going to run out of dreams when it goes to sleep for hibernation. And then there's another story that's actually not by me. It's told by a dog, and it's a French dog, so it's called Gaston le Dog. And Gaston le Dog is on a kind of odyssey to get to the beach. For some reason or another, he's pretty fixated about a beach, and he meets up with some pals. There's a hedgehog, who all those of you who speak French will know is called Hérisson, yes, and also meets up with a cat that might be quite familiar to people. A little bit like Puss in Boots, but anyway, this cat lives in, of course, you know in French a cat is called un chat, so of course it lives in a chateau. Yes, you've got there. And so that's right, Gaston le Dog and the chateau, and also a very wise old serpent and a hippie yak that collects flotsam and jetsam from a river. So plenty there. That's coming out in the autumn.
Amazing. We can't wait for that as well. You're speaking at the show here. What can folks expect on the stage from you today?
Well, I did a little booklet for schools called Write to Feel Right. And it's about writing about emotions and writing for your own well-being, if you like, your state of mind. And I'm drawing on my own experience of writing about trauma and bereavement and illness and loss. And so I draw on that without loading the children with that in the book. But today I'll be talking a little bit about that book. I'll read from it. It's a little booklet, a school's booklet. And then reading some of the poems that I've written about being ill, and also or various things to do with my family, remembering or trying to understand what happened to their relatives in the Holocaust, and also the loss of my son. So I'll be reading some poems about that and talking about why I wrote in the way I did, I think, yeah.
It's an amazing book as well, just an amazing title. I love the collection of photographs that really kind of touched me in an enormous way. Really exciting. What do you think colleagues can do to improve the state of writing for our young people? What are the things we can do?
Well, I think we should stop chasing them about these expected levels. The idea that there's a special kind of writing that is good on the basis of the fact that you've ticked some boxes that come from the grammar, punctuation and spelling test, to me, it seems to be completely absurd. It's, to be crude about it, well, I won't be crude about it, but anyway, it's the wrong way round. I think people know the various expressions to describe that. And so I just think it's really absurd. I mean, I can remember going as a parent for open day with one of my children, and the teacher said they're very pleased with his writing because he's embedding his relative clauses and expanding his noun phrases. And I just remember thinking, well, yeah, but I mean, it doesn't actually make good writing. Good writing can be, sometimes you can just write without even verbs. You know, think of great poems, think of, well, even very clever adverts. If you stand on the tube and see it, say it, sorted. You know, there's no expanded noun phrases there, there's no subordinate clauses, there's no relative clauses. It's very direct, and in fact it's even, in grammatical terms, incorrect. See it, yeah, full stop, that's great. Say it, yeah, full stop, that's great. Though in fact GPS would say you'd have to have an exclamation mark there because it's a command, that's how absurd it is. And then we've got sorted all on its own. Well, that's not a sentence, says GPS. Well, of course it works very well. Look at me. I'm not reading that off a piece of paper. I know it off by heart. So there was a slogan that really worked that wouldn't pass SATs. Well, what does that tell us? That tells us that writing for a purpose is much more important than thinking how it suits these formulaic writing by numbers principles. So I know it's very difficult for teachers. You've got to do it. You've got to make sure that the children are coached for SATs in effect. But you must find some other time, some free time, some space where you can write where you're inspired by other literature apart from anything else and by the children's own experiences. So the great thing about literature is it exposes us to the possibilities of different ways of writing. And different ways of writing remind us about our own experiences. So you have an interchange, a lovely, lovely interchange between your own experience and this incredible variety of ways of writing. Expose the children to that, and they will fill in their own experiences and their own imaginations. You must trust them, and it'll happen.
Of course, colleagues will know that before they start writing, we need to get them reading more as well. What else can we do to encourage a greater or a higher level of reading in young people?
Well, the key thing we have to remember about reading is that it was invented so that we have pleasure. That was why it was invented. It wasn't invented in order to give us exams or tests or to find out whether it was good for us or not. You know, when Homer wrote the Odyssey, it was in order to excite us and amaze us and make us wonder about this person and his failings and the adventures, and whether he'd be able to cope with the clashing rocks, and what trick would he manage to think up in order to be able to listen to the sirens but not dive into the sea and then get destroyed. And we're in awe of this, and we love this, and then we wonder whether he'll ever get home, and then if he gets home, will it be okay? All this, that's why we invent literature. So that's over 3,000 years old. And we've been doing that ever since, and whether it's comics or stories or poems or drama, opera, this is all ways of writing, and we do it for pleasure. So school should be a place for pleasure, writing and reading too. So the idea that we can make reading for pleasure at the centre of the curriculum. We know that if children read for pleasure, they access education more easily. So if you want to then add on to that, they achieve more, they attain more, that's true, but they will find it easier to access education if they read more, and if they read for pleasure, because they'll find their ways to different texts that excite and interest them, and that's the way.
What can parents do? Because a lot of the reading can be done at home, and colleagues would say that if a child is not from a reading household, they're at a disadvantage. What advice could you give to parents to encourage their children to get stuck in?
Well, ideally, if there's a library near you, go to that. If there's a bookshop near you, go to that. Give the children the choice, let them choose. But the internet is a fantastic source of books and writing of all kinds. It does take a little bit of navigating, but if you put in a title, let's say you've got young children, and you put in a title like Nursery Rhymes, or you put in Hansel and Gretel, you'll find lots of lovely versions of it, whether in writing or in video form, with lots of lovely pictures and so on. And you can start exploring. So I know some books that are old are quite difficult for children to access, but virtually every book that was written before 1900, or I think even before 1920 now, is actually up there on the internet somewhere. And so you can play around with these things, and also go to authors' websites and see what they show, because quite often authors put up their bits of their books and so on their websites. I've got over 200 videos of my poems, for example. I'm not the only one. I put up new poems on my website. So if your child says, well, they like Julia Donaldson, go to Julia Donaldson's website, find what she's talking about, and sit with your child and help them navigate. That's what I'd say.
And do you have a favourite author at the moment?
A favourite author? Well, I read a wonderful book for adults, this is, by a man called Colin Grant. And Colin Grant's parents came from Jamaica. He was born here, brought up here, and he wrote a book called I'm Black So You Don't Have to Be. Yes, so it's, and that's a quote from his an older relation of his, who was a pioneer really for him, and he said, well, I did the black bit, and now you don't have to be. So it's a lovely, wry, clever, funny, brilliant book about his Caribbean heritage and how he navigates around his relatives. I interviewed him for the London Review of Books. You can see a little video of me interviewing him, and I just think it is a wonderful, wonderful book.
That's an amazing there. Do you have a particular children's author, apart from yourself, that you would recommend to anyone?
Children's authors, many. I mentioned Julia Donaldson. I think she is a pure genius. I think we are so lucky to have Julia Donaldson. In years to come, people will go, oh, she was amazing, just like the people say A.A. Milne, goodness me, how amazing, J.R.R. Tolkien, how amazing. People will say that. They should be saying it now. She should be somehow in the centre of the national conversation about literature and books. She isn't, because we diminish and don't value children. So if you write for children, this is somehow thought of as like a bit childish. But so far from it. This is somebody who is a genius with words and literary form, and we have her in our midst. We should be treasuring her. So, Julia Donaldson.
That's a brilliant recommendation. It's a pleasure as ever to speak with you, Michael. Thank you so much. The very best of luck for your keynote presentation, and I may well see you later on in the afternoon. For the moment, thank you so much, and God bless you. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
I love this station.
Absolutely love the station.
Oh yeah.
You guys are the best.
It is the best station.
You're listening to Russell Prue, broadcasting on the Anderton Tiger Radio Network.
You know who it is?
My favorite station. I love you guys.
Turn your radios up.
Every song like totally rocks.
It's awesome.
It's all about my kind of music.
My kind of music.
The official broadcaster of Bett 2023.
Welcome to your ultimate dance experience.
So privileged to be able to catch up with the man himself. I met him years ago at a NATE conference. We had a short conversation, no chance to pick that up as well. Bless, he is still as sharp as a tack. And I can confirm that was a brilliant. We did that in the Speaker's Lounge a little earlier today, because I knew his presentation is currently overrunning, as we said with Beverly just a few moments ago, and he wouldn't have been able to make it here on time, and we'd have been panicking. I'm so pleased he kindly agreed to that hour. It's 18 minutes to 4. We've got loads more guests. My very good friend Maria Wojciechowska-Kaneda is up next. Do not go anywhere. You're listening to The Show, live from Bett.
NetSupport Radio, powered by Anderton Tiger, the official broadcaster of Bett 2023.
Listen, it's absolutely brilliant. I'm thrilled to introduce a cherished colleague, the amazing Maria Wojciechowska-Kaneda, who is still my co-host on LearnRadio.net. We've presented hundreds of learning shows, from Crafty Cafe to a whole range of literacy book club shows during our various lockdowns in the pandemic. Maria, it's great you can join us over the line. You're not here at the show, you're in your London studio. What on earth have you been up to during the last year?
Oh, Russell, it's lovely. I've never been described as cherished. I'll cherish that. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Oh, how wonderful. Oh, yes, I'm so sorry to miss the Bett show this year. I enjoyed it immensely last year. Made so many fabulous, wonderful connections and learnt so much. Yeah, no, I've been on my travels this week, so I'm back in my headquarters today, and just catching up on some admin. But no, I've been traveling around the northwest of England, Russell. It's been very exciting.
Now tell the listeners about Arco Iris and your your I can't even say it. It's too
easy for you to say.
It's not easy for me to say. Your photography scheme of work, which you've just been so successful with schools. It's about mindfulness. Let us in on that, can you?
Oh, thank you so much, Russell. Yes, it expands every time I go back to it and I visit new schools. So I'm an experienced teacher. I've been teaching for 25 years, nearly 30 if you class my degree. So I've been in education a long time, worked in a variety of different schools, but it doesn't matter where I was. I noticed even pre-pandemic that well-being needed something. So about 13, 14 years ago, I trained as a relaxed kids coach, and that was fantastic. And I think that brought me onto the journey to think, what is it that I can offer uniquely for me? Because you know, Russell, I'm very quirky. You know that, don't you?
Oh, you've been quirky all the time I've known you, and I like that. It's that we call that innovation.
Oh, thank you. I shall start saying that more. I'm an innovator rather than quirky.
Always.
Well, I'm just following my passion now. So well-being is very important, and I do that through contemplative photography. I don't teach them some skills. So when I visit the schools and they have part of a workshop, it's just about the children experiencing photography as a response. But I also do teach. I teach an after-school club in local schools around the southeast London area where I'm based. And I teach them the actual skills. So from year 3, 7-year-olds, they're learning about focus, background, complementing backgrounds, macro, starting a school after Easter, looking at grade 3. So I created all the content, all of this wonderful experience that I've had over the last 25 years. So I've created the content, but the workshops that I do are particularly beautiful. And Russell, it's really grown because I started just looking at contemplative photography, but now I deliver imaginative experiences. So I invite the children to relax their bodies, relax their breathing. I lead them through a guided meditation, a guided visualization, because children are very imaginative. I don't know what it is. We seem to drum it out of them. They come into school as butterflies in reception. And I've taught year 6 for many years, and I'm trying to reignite some sloths. I mean, I think I've become a sloth. You remember on the show I had Nap, my sloth.
I love it. I love what you do. I've picked up a lovely phrase here at Bett, and it can be adjusted for you. In God we trust. For everything else, there's photography. And you could you could apply that to everything. It was someone who was talking about data. It was really good. I was just amazing. You're doing amazing work there, Maria. It is just incredible. You're touching the lives of young people, and you say, stream it. I'd say knock it out of them. And year 4, even year 4 are immensely creative. When I go into schools and do radio workshops, I believe they've not heard the word no enough. They've not heard the "you can't do that, you'll not ever be any good at that" pointy finger in forehead. They've not had that enough. They're also not so self-conscious and self-aware at year 4. They're up for anything. Tenacity levels are at their highest, and then gradually, as you say, as they go through the sausage machine that we call primary,
yes, indeed.
primary care and primary education, it's knocked out of them. You are restoring some of that creativity back into their lives. This is amazing, successful, and so where can folks connect with you, Maria? If they want to book you, if you're still available, where do folks find your work?
Well, I'm taking bookings from September because I've only got a few dates left this year.
I thought I'd just throw that out on a whim. No. You're kidding me. Oh,
I know. I've been very grateful how the universe has provided such wonderful opportunities. I mean, I have a notice board that I'm looking at. When I first started last year, I had 1 or 2 bookings. Now I need a bigger notice board.
Well, I love that. In God we trust, and photography is for everything else. You are so on the page. Bless you. Bless you.
I'm so grateful for all the opportunities that come to me, and I'm expanding. Not my waistline. I'm trying to keep that.
When I say that, people know exactly what I mean. Yes, Russell,
but my heart is expanding. I was in 4 schools the last week.
Oh, bless.
Schools in Manchester. I travelled all the way up to Lancashire in Blackburn. I've never been treated so I mean, it was humbling from the site manager to, to your wonderful TAs. I always call TAs my right leg.
Yeah.
I mean, I could never function properly without them. Colleagues are just out there, and the children are so receptive and so open. And you're talking about, they don't know the word no. I always say to them, I wonder. So if they ask me something, they say, can I use this? I say, I wonder what you'll use with them. Can I take my shoes off? I say, I wonder if that's what you'll choose. So it's very permissional, or if somebody says, oh, I can't do this, I'll say, yet. I can't do this yet. I was listening to a wonderful BBC Radio 4 programme about grit and resilience.
Mm-hmm.
That resilience is great. And I think with that resilience is a real big buzzword. It's been, for many, many years. But I think grit, the failing, and then what do you do with that? And I'm certainly a big advocate of that. I must mention, I was listening to your show yesterday in a Sainsbury's car park. Other shops are available. In Manchester, so grateful for what you're doing, because for colleagues who can't come to Bett, you're still engaged. And I was listening to Professor Stephen Heppel, massive fan. He changed my perception of so many things. And he was talking about the golden generation of children.
Yeah.
Russell, I think colleagues, we are the golden generation of colleagues. I think we've been through some things that we'll never be able to go back on because we've changed. We've evolved. And like that show we did a few years ago on World Radio Day, evolution, innovation, inspiration. We're the people. And Russell, you're there. And I'm so grateful for you being there. And I'll be there next year.
Oh,
I love
bless
it's
you.
in March now. It's wonderful.
Well,
Early nights.
No, only this year. We're going back to January. It's
okay.
last
All
week,
right.
but one in January. Get it in your diary
Okay.
now. Yeah, but
All right, I
book
will.
early to avoid disappointment. I've talked over you telling me your URL and your web addresses. How do we connect with you, Maria? Where do we find you?
I'm on all the platforms, on all the major platforms. But yeah, if you want to find out more about my work, it's www.arcoirislearning.co.uk. It's Spanish for rainbows, because I'm a really big fan of rainbows. Rainbows for me are a sign for hope. They're a sign for hope for so many, and a sign for hope for children.
Maria, as always, it's a pleasure, a delight, and an honour to chat with you. Go in peace and have a splendid Friday. Thanks for being on today's show.
Thank you, darling. Thank you.
Contact the show right now. Just send a text message to 07 8600 26 400.
I love catching up with Maria. We presented some cracking radio shows over the couple of years that we've been broadcasting together. You can catch all of that work on learnradio.net, folks. You just go to learnradio.net. Everything is there. All of every show we've ever broadcast together, and there's loads. All the resources that go with it are all available completely and utterly free of charge. Aren't we good people? Talked about that last show yesterday, and of course all our shows are available on my page, on the NetSupport radio page, and of course on andertontiger.com/radio. They will be there just as quickly as we can finish this show. Starting to quieten down in the halls now. A couple of presentations just on. The Kids Judge Bett has finished. I've not been told, so I didn't win. Sad. But never mind. I was recording a brilliant interview with the fabulous Michael Rosen. That was amazing. I just can't get over that. Still just amazing. Maria, thanks very much for your contribution. Still loads to come, folks. Don't go anywhere. It's all happening here.
You're listening to Russell Prue, your Bett Radio Show host, live on NetSupport Radio at Bett 2023.
Hear this. Get into school radio for less. The Anderton Tiger Hub. AndertonTiger.com/hub.
Feel the power.
Arco Iris Learning is a creative learning company especially for primary-aged children and primary colleagues. Contemplative photography uses imaginative mindfulness exercises as a stimulus, and then our learners create a photograph using the resources provided. The sessions are based on different themes, and we can create special bespoke sessions to match your curriculum. Primary colleagues looking to expand the theme of contemplative photography can also book our online or in-person CPD session. For more information, contact us via our website, arcoirislearning.co.uk.
LearnRadio.net is a live broadcasting and podcast platform that showcases the best examples of radio for learning. You'll find hundreds of pupil shows, our book club, Crafty Cafe and Russell's Radio Academy. LearnRadio.net, live radio for learning.
Hello, it's John Bentley here, best known for the Gadget Show, and you're listening to me on LearnRadio.net.
Listeners, my next guest live in the studio is Ian Phillips. He's from Inspire Edu, and he's a digital strategist. I always wanted to meet one of those, honestly, Ian. What brings you to Bett this year?
People. It's the relationships. And as you can probably hear, I've got a little bit of the Bett voice and the Friday Bett voice, and that's because I've done a lot of talking. I think I've used up all the words that I had for the next month in the last 3 days. But it's a really special place, and the people here are really special, and I think that's what brings me here.
Brilliant. Now talk to me about the organisation and what's on your agenda at the moment.
So I'm running Removing Digital Headache roundtables. And what I'm doing is I'm inviting people to come and share on a specific topic. For years, like 15 years, I've been running conferences where 40 different people come and they all speak about different things, and you manage it in the breakout groups. And I'm not sure what we ever achieved. We had a great time, everyone came.
We did.
Right? But now I'm having single conversations about one topic and then publishing the advice. And all of this is advice. So last night we had one on digital safeguarding and the implications for devices. And really we're talking about personalizing learning. How do we personalize learning and still keep everybody safe and keep their data safe? That's the question. And we had 90 minutes on this, and the wonderful young Al Kingsley chaired it for me. And we had a whole plethora of amazing people there. And you know, in 90 minutes, we couldn't come up with an answer, which, that's okay. But we've come up with a way that we can find an answer, and we'll continue the conversation now over the next few weeks. And then we'll publish some advice. And it won't be, this is what you'll do. What we'll do is we'll publish advice which will say, if you have headaches with digital safeguarding, here are some things that you could consider. Here are some processes that you should be thinking about. And that's all we can do is offer advice. And put it out as a draft and something that's in the public domain that everyone then can contribute to, and that way we'll iterate it, and hopefully it will improve and develop.
Right, that's how the discussion starts. Ian, if folks want to connect with you and the strategy and activities that are going on, where can they go?
LinkedIn or Twitter, I'm on both, Ian Phillips, and it's Inspire EDU. I used to work at the Haberdashers School in Elstree, and so I've kept that Twitter handle rather than try and change it, so it's at Ian Habs, simples.
Nothing wrong with that at all. Ian, it's been great to chat with you. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Thanks, Russell. Great to speak to you.
Contact the show right now. Just send a text message to 07 8600 26 400.
Good to have you company, folks. It is 4 minutes to 4. Now, later on this evening on Channel 4, have to draw your attention to Joe Lycett. He's back. He is Mr. Disruptor, and he's got one of his usual chaotic, fabulous shows. 10 o'clock this evening, that's British summertime. Joe Lycett. It's the Joe Lycett Night, and you'll find that on Channel 4 this evening. What an amazing show. Really enjoying that. Thank you so much for your tweets as well. Amazing ICT. Lovely message from you. Thank you for that. I know Maria's listening. She's messaged me. Dave Wiley is also enjoying the day. Dave, you are up in just 13 minutes time. I'll be playing you live into the show. It's got lots of our guests. Clearly can't all be here at 3 o'clock and sit and wait around. Just don't have those production values, that capability here at the show. So we like to record our guests during the day so we can stitch the show live with a nice themed thread running through it. I hope you're enjoying it. Do get in contact. I'd love to see a text, a tweet or an email from you. All lines are open. You can also record a message on our telephone answering machine. I know, how 70s.
Our phone lines are now open. Call us now on our London studio number 0208 133 5170. Calls are charged at your standard rate. Calls from mobiles may cost more. Please dial carefully.
Listeners, my next guest live in the studio is Emma Hawker. She is the Impact and Training Manager for Governors for Schools, and as an ex-governor myself, I was very pleased to welcome her to the studio. Emma, welcome to the studio.
Oh, thank you so much. It's really fantastic to be here and lovely to see lots of really interesting people around and kind of enjoying the Bett show. So
brilliant. What are you here for?
So I would really love to share with everyone a little bit about school governance. So as you said, I'm from Governors for Schools, and we're an education charity that helps to match up volunteers who are interested in school governance with schools who really need their skills. So we're very proud to do that. We've been doing that for a long time now, more than 20 years, and we're very proud of the bespoke matching system that we have. So we really listen to what schools need from their volunteers. We really listen to our volunteers and the skills that they've got to bring and maybe what they're looking to learn as well. And then we try and find the right match so that everyone's happy.
Is there a national shortage of governors?
There are lots and lots and lots of schools who really, really need school governors. Yeah. And it can really vary, I'd say, particularly in those areas that are struggling a little bit more. In rural areas, they especially struggle for governors, but everywhere really, everyone's kind of always looking for people with the right skills.
I was going to ask, what's the barrier? What's the main barrier? Is it time, commitment, fear? What's the main barrier for folk to get involved in?
Do you know, I think it's a little bit of both, and also a little bit of not quite understanding what the role is all about. I know there are lots of people who think, well, I don't have any children, I can't be a school governor. I would like to dispel that myth. You do not have to have children in school to be a school governor. We've got lots and lots of volunteers who don't have children, they just want to give something back to their school community, and so that's what they do.
Well said. Just really, really good. And it's not just about cold tea and soggy biscuits. There's a whole lot more. It was an amazing experience. I love it. I really appreciate the way that you said learning, because I think it is a two-way learning road as well. You can develop yourself, and again, it's a community-spirited activity, isn't it?
Fantastic, absolutely. I think there's so much that volunteers can get from giving. Obviously, you get that lovely feeling of having done something good for the young people and their families in your area, but it's an absolutely fantastic way to kind of upskill yourself as well. So, for example, I have had the opportunity through governance to chair meetings and kind of learn some of the new skills that come along with all of that, and it's not an opportunity that I would have naturally had through the workplace. So I really like that I've been able to learn something new, and the next time I might go for a promotion or another role, I've got that I can bring in. So actually, I've got this experience.
And would you use that on your CV?
I definitely would. I think it's a really fantastic skill to have on your CV. There are so many things that you learn through governance. So all those kind of chairing skills, keeping people on board, that real high-level strategic directional thinking, problem solving, lots of really fantastic stuff that you can learn through governance.
And different specific committee access, so you could get yourself onto a particular type of, if facilities, if building, or finance was particularly your expertise, you could, use that. If health and well-being was an activity you were particularly interested in, you get yourself on those subcommittees. I guess now that would add enormous value to your CV.
Absolutely. So you've hit the nail on the head there, I think, Russell. There's so many different ways that you can bring those skills to governance. So we do often try and work with organisations, with people who can bring in finance skills, maybe HR, legal skills, all sorts of things, because actually that governing board needs a whole diverse range of views and skills and perspectives to give kind of the best that they can for that school community.
Brilliant. If you've collected all your resources, where can folks go to meet with Governors for Schools? You've got a website, where should we go?
We do have a website, so governorsforschools.org.uk, so it's governors for the word for, FOR, so governorsforschools.org.uk. There's lots of information there about the role, what it involves, what it's like, how you can apply. There's also a whole range of training materials that we provide to help people get going once they're in that role. So there's lots of people thinking, I want to give back, I'm not too sure about all of this. They can find lots of information on what the role means, the time it might take to commit, the kind of skills that we're looking for, what they can learn from it, and also the kind of support to help them get up and running.
And there's no better time to think about that than this year's Coronation Day, folks. This is a perfect day to push yourself forward, volunteering, giving back to the community. It can't all be done on one day, of course, but you could certainly make a job of going to the website on this day and putting yourself forward for someone registered. So do you hold a registration? Do you hold a register for folks, or do you actively get involved, like kind of hooking people up with the right thing, or is it just resources on the site? You actively get involved in that?
We do. So we offer a bespoke matching service. So we ask our schools to fill out an application telling us what they're looking for from the volunteer. We ask our volunteers to fill in an application, just gives us a better idea of their skills and what kind of school they're looking for, and then someone goes through all of that information, reads personal statements and works out what we think the best fit might be.
Love it.
We work with the volunteer all the way through to make sure that they're happy with everything. We make some suggestions when we think we've got to the right place. We connect the school with the volunteer, and there's still no pressure. It's kind of have a conversation, see if it's the right kind of fit, and then once everyone's happy, we say, okay, now you're in the role, this is what else we can give you to support you, get you going, help you be effective from day one.
It's like dating for governors, or even a recruitment agency. I love it. Fantastic. Congratulations. Hope you get an influx of visitors. Folks, there's a national shortage. Get yourselves over to the website and register. Emma, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
NetSupport Radio, powered by Anderton Tiger, the official broadcaster of Bett 2023.
I love catching up with good old friends, and he won't mind me saying it. There's the fabulous Dr. Dave Wiley, and we do still exchange Christmas cards, folks.
Oh, yes.
Dave, welcome to the show. How has your Bett been this year?
My pleasure. Well, it's been great. This is my first Bett return after the pandemic. Isn't it wonderful to be able to network with people? Because, you know, the Bett show is, yes, it's about seeing the exhibits, but it's about meeting people. And we've missed that, I think. And, you know, meeting with the likes of your good self, but also, you know, all of friends and colleagues, and meeting new people, new contacts. I particularly like the startup area for the new companies.
Okay.
Walking around there to see what the up and coming things are, and of course, you know, I am old enough to remember when the likes of Nancy and David started Smart, and they were in the Smart Up area, and now of course Smart are one of the headline sponsors. So it's great to see what's up and coming, and to meet up with a lot of the non-UK based companies. So there's one particularly that I looked at called Scolon, which is a great piece of software that enables a school to have all of their subscriptions all together in one single sign-on portal. Wow. And it can track the usage by teachers and students, because when I'm going into schools talking to heads, they quite often have subscribed to a lot of different pieces of software or applications, but they're not quite sure what the data use is. And I think that's one of the things I've observed, Russell, is that this year a lot of companies are focusing on what data they can generate for school leaders and for their users. So as well as the functionality of the nice stuff that they're doing, it's also about providing, I suppose, what you'd call business intelligence for those school leaders to make sure they're getting the best out of it, really.
Yes. I had Dr. Gupta on the show yesterday, and he was from India, and he was a research, and he was saying, in God we trust, but for everything else there's data. And I thought, he's absolutely on point there.
Yeah, and you know, I've been into schools and done a review on particular subscriptions. And particularly in this day and age where schools are counting their money and their budget, aware of their budgets, they need to get value out of that. So I particularly like that one application.
Nice.
And then flipping completely to the other end of it, I'm really interested in engineering and technology, and with my alter ego, which we said we wouldn't talk about, which is into the classic cars, I realise how much the industry out there is reliant on computer-controlled technologies. Yeah. And in area N, the north side, the other side of the wall, there's a great company that's showing robotic arms and robotic manufacture. Now, some of that equipment is very expensive, but it just strikes me it's the sort of thing that in high schools or secondary schools that are focusing in on that tech.
Sure.
Those young people need to be using those computer-controlled and computer-generated manufacturing things, and they're actually making SIM card holders over there. It's not just making badges and things like that. They're actually producing a piece of equipment, and it looks like some of the robotic manufacture I saw 3 weeks ago when I went to a real manufacturing plant.
Wow.
I was a bit shocked by the transition. We always talk about, we're in the 21st century, we always talk about 21st century skills, we're in now. But, that engineering and technology side of things, a bit disappointed I'm not seeing so much 3D printing, because again, I've got a lot of friends out there who've got people working in industry who are reliant on 3D printing now. It's not just a nice to have, it's part of their engineering process model. So to me, that side of things, some things come and go in waves, don't they? It was quite a big thing pre-pandemic. It's sort of, I haven't seen too much of it now, and I think that's a great shame, because it's become commonplace in industry now,
I think you're absolutely right. You also spoke in, I caught you on stage with the fabulous Dave Smith. What were you talking about there?
Oh, okay. Well, again, it actually comes back to data. What we decided to do, the organisation called BESA, the British Educational Suppliers Association, they do, for 18 years, they've been doing a survey of what they called ICT in schools, what sort of trends there are, what the expenditure is, and they've got a great big data set which they normally provide a detailed report to the educational edtech industry.
Sure.
And being a former head teacher myself, and sort of trustee and governor, I come back to this value for money thing, and having been ahead and sat in that chair, it's quite a lonely place, really. And when you're being asked by, let's say, your tech support to spend, a large quantity of money on refreshing Wi-Fi or refreshing, your flat panels or your laptops for students, you need to know whether others are doing the same thing. So they got a data set of 1,400 schools that they survey, and I asked BESA through our mate Dave Smith if we could repurpose that data, not all of it, but take the key salient points to reposition it for school leaders, and it's gone down a storm. So it's one of the things is showing the trends that. The first question was what are your pinch points on EdTech? And you won't be surprised to know that the top of the list is finding budget money to do it and acting strategically.
Sure.
But another one is basic Wi-Fi infrastructure. So my other great friend and colleague, Gavin Hawkins, we put together our reconstituted Maslow's hierarchy of need, but we changed it for EdTech. So instead of, food, warmth and comfort at the bottom level, we put Wi-Fi and devices as the bottom of your Maslow's triangle. So that was one of the other points that school leaders were wanting. It was maximising devices. Then we went through how the trends in expenditure are slightly declining because pressure on budgets, and when we've got data around that. And then the one that really sort of rang a few warning bells for me was the internet access in classrooms in both primary and secondary. Now, when we asked in the leadership arena what people thought, I could see people's brains whirring, thinking, it's going to be 100% access across all classrooms.
It's not.
And it's not.
No.
So it was, that report was to try and highlight to school leaders and to the industry what the trends are and give them a context. Along with each of those aspects, what we did was a series of checklists for school leaders and governors to ask their own questions to reflect against that data. So are your priorities the same as the rest of the 1,400 cohort? And that's for them to decide, isn't it? You see, they've got a benchmark, if you like, now to ask those questions again. And right at the end, we put a quick audit tool. So it's gone down really well. And David has been talking to people from other countries who've seen it, and they're really interested. So I think we've hit a chord there.
Yes,
probably.
I
we'd like to do it again next year, and we've been given some interesting feedback on different questions to ask.
Good.
So it's very much trying to keep people grounded in what's the reality out there, and I think working with a school on the demonstrator program, I realised that not all schools are like the ones that come to Bett. The ones that come to Bett are the ones that understand EdTech.
Well, it's interesting. You could say they're in the first side of the Venn diagram, aren't they? You could say that by definition.
Yes. And there are a lot of schools out there that are struggling with it for whatever reason, and this was to try and help those. And we're going to try and get it out to the professional association, so it's not just the usual EdTech audience.
Good.
So it's great.
Amazing. Dave, it's great chatting with you. You're just a font of information still.
Oh, we try, Russell.
It's really good. Thanks so much for coming along. Great to chat with you.
Thank you, Russell.
NetSupport Radio, powered by Anderton Tiger, the official broadcaster of Bett 2023.
Listeners, I've just been reminded that we go back a very long way from my next guest, and we have shared values. I love that in a guest. It's Miles Pilling. I come to Bett to check my special educational additional needs compass with this guru. He's the go-to man, and it's nice to know what he knows now that he didn't know last year. Miles, welcome to the show. How the devil are you?
Very, very well, thank you. God willing, still on the planet to make a difference, and still doing what I can. 71 this year.
Oh, so, bless you! Don't look a day over 70. That's amazing. Oh, no, seriously, you look brilliant. Oh, I hope I look that good at that age. Bless you. You're doing so well. Whatever cream you're using, I need to get some. What have you been up to since we last spoke?
Well, loads of things. But the most important thing I think that I want to tell you about is an exciting project, because in the last decade or two we've had this position of going back into the 19th century and probably the Stone Age with this emphasis on writing. My goal is assistive technology. But I'm pleased to announce that we are about to produce 3 films for schools to use in their staff meetings, in their inset days, in their assemblies, because we have spoken to in excess of 20 pupils, and it's their voice about what assistive technology means to them. And do you know what they are telling us? It's changed their lives completely. And we're not talking about really expensive stuff, we're talking about what they've got already. So we want these 3 films to impact the teaching population. I have a massive goal to reach 22,412 schools in the UK with this. We're giving it away for free. And sorry, it's a plug, but I'll tell you this.
No problem.
You can look at the teaser to get a quality of what this is. It's a 2-minute teaser, and you'll see it's really powerful. So if you want to impact your staff, if you're a Senko, whatever, but that's not it. I see a coming together of different groups all at the same time. NASON, Microlink, and the DFE are doing training for assistive technology for free for schools till August. Go and get it. It's online stuff. I know. But that's the way it works.
I think schools are hungry for something like that, Miles. Hungry as can be.
Not only that, Julia Kluter and myself, Julius from Scanning Pens, we have produced for NASON a mini guide on assistive technology, which can be used in any school or setting. It's using the SET framework, and that enables Senkos to put into practice what we've talked about in the films and what Microink are doing. So this is a really golden time, and Marie, maybe post-Gove we can move in a much more, a much more better way, because our mantra is the technology is essential for some, but it's useful for all. And we want it to climb out of the ghetto and begin to impact the education world. As you can see, I'm really passionate about this and excited because we've not had this in the UK. We've had about products, we've had about case studies, but what about hearing the pupils themselves?
Yeah, we need a step change, a system change, a systemic change like this. Where can folks find out more about this? Where's our website? Have you got stuff on your website? Where can we go, Miles?
Yes, barteronline.org. Because Barter, the British Assistive Technology Association, not the shoe firm, they produced it. So if you go to barteronline.org, and you'll see a link coming soon. We hope to produce all the 3 films freely available in spring 2023. End of plug of that one.
No, that's amazing. That's really good. Insofar as tech, 3-dimensional button pressing, those kind of things, has there been any significant improvement on that? I mean, captioning, I think, has been a big change. I met a company here called Captioned, and I spoke to Richard Powell yesterday. He's the founder of that, and I liked it immediately. It caught my attention. And now this year they are captioning all of the theatres on an app, which is stunning improvement. We had a jolly old catch up with him yesterday, which was amazing. I love chatting with them, and that's a good success story for me as well. Anything else on your front?
Well, Microsoft have done something with captioning. You can caption anything on any website, anywhere, anytime. Old YouTube stories, whatever, even stuff published on government websites, if you care to do that. That's interesting. Also, I've been on a passion drive to find a speech-driven computer because I have a client who can't use their hands and they're blind, and she's frustrated because they can't do that. Remember, we talked about this last year. Well, yeah. Windows 11 you can run through voice access control, and it will actually control the computer, but it crashed our screen reader, so there's some work to go yet. 57 years ago, Captain Kirk talked to his computer and things happened, and that's the kind of technology I'm really after at the moment, is speech-driven completely. We have it a little in Alexa and Google, but you know what? They don't necessarily allow the stuff that people want to do. My client just wants to send emails and also surf the internet, and both are a challenge. So yeah. That's the point.
Well, I wonder whether those, because of course those platforms have been developed more quickly than anything else because they have a bigger market penetration, and therefore there is more money to be made out of that. It's a mass market, and I wonder whether we should stay with the mass market idea and make those things do, even if they're bolt-on additional costy items. Alexa, take a Microsoft Word note, and then dictate as you would. Paragraph 1 starts, "Dear sirs, next line." It has been brought to my attention that, wouldn't that be great? That's kind of thing. Send email to Alexa, send email to. And I think those good. Alexa, read the following website.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm not an Alexa. I really don't want to let those devices intrude upon my broadcasting space.
Our biggest enemy is GDPR, which has stopped some of the things Alexa was developing. So if we can try and do a sensible GDPR in the country, maybe we can allow these things in. Because they had skills that would do it, but they removed them. We can only think it's GDPR.
Has to be.
A problem.
Well, we should get someone from Google on the show here. At the moment, they declined every offer to comment.
Anyway, I mean, some of the other things that I find exciting, ChatGPT.
Yes.
There are some potentials there for neurodiversity people to be able to construct, say, write me a letter of recommendation or a website or something, or publication, and it's pretty good, but it's not quite perfect. But it goes to 20. Well, and I can't say that because I might be using an older version, but yeah, there's some excitement there in that, and I haven't seen anything that wowed me yet here this week, but I've only been here one day.
Well, that should have been enough, Miles. It's great to catch up with you. If folks want to connect with you on social media, where should they go, Miles?
At Miles Pilling on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn as Miles Pilling, and Facebook as well. So you can find me at Accessibility. That's Accessibility with an A in it, Solutions. And certainly I'm there for you if you want to reach out to us and have a discussion.
Miles, great to chat with you as ever. Enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers.
Thanks.
Listeners, I'm thrilled to have a shed load of young people in the studio.
Hi, my name's Lucy. We're from Manchester EP. Hi, my name's James.
Hi, my name's Jack. Thanks for having me.
Hi, my name's Imogen. I'm having a great time here.
Hello, all of you. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much indeed. Lucy, great introduction there. What have you seen at Bett you've really thought was interesting today?
That's a really good question. Here at Bett, I've had a really good time, and the most amazing thing I've seen is a robotic dog. How about you, James?
Thanks, Lucy. I've seen there's quite a few of them at Bett, but I've seen these racing games where the seat moves with you. At Bett, I found that a robot that follows you to be really cool. What about you, Imogen?
Well, I saw an iSports Ball where you can play games even inside.
Wow, that's amazing. You've seen so much and you've only been here in such a short space of time. Have you enjoyed your trip? If I come to you, James, to start with, so what part of the whole exhibition have you enjoyed the most?
Probably all the fun games we've been able to play and all the cool, amazing things we've seen.
It's amazing. Good question.
What about you, Lucy?
Oh, well done. Oh, he's hosting already. I love it. Very talented. I'm not even needed here, folks.
I've really enjoyed being here at Bett, and my favourite bit is probably experiencing loads of the games and seeing lots of ideas.
Bett's great, and I love the hospitality of all the people here.
I love going on some of the games and seeing what they're actually about.
Oh wow, that's just amazing. Well, all of you, thanks so much indeed for joining me. Your classmates will be listening back at school. I know it's holidays at the end of today, so they'll be keen to get away. There'll be a lot on their mind. Do you have a message back at school, perhaps a message for your friends back at school? You want to say hello or hi to everyone? We'll start with you, Lucy. A message for your folks back at school?
Hi, it's been really great here. Hope you're having a good time at school.
Excellent. James?
Hi, I hope you're having a good time at school and see you soon.
Hi, I hope you're having fun, because we certainly are.
Hi guys, I hope you're having lots of fun in school.
Brilliant. We've been chatting this afternoon to Lucy, James, Jack and Imogen from Lanchester EP School. Good to see you. Thanks for coming down.
And that's what I like to call.
What's up, y'all? I'm Beyonce.
What's up? This is Adam from Maroon 5.
This is Kings of Leon.
NetSupport Radio.
Listen to me now.
Listeners, I'm bringing you a smorgasbord of and delectation of a mix of things. I've got someone from Action Mats in front of me, Jonathan Bow-Mick. I hope I got that right. He's the founder and creator. Jonathan, what do you know about Action Mats?
Action Mats were devised for a school in Birmingham where all of the children were of Pakistani origin, and the brief was to get the children interested and excited about exercise without the need to explain what was needed of them. So we devised mats with pictures and graphics on there to show the children what to do so they could understand for themselves, they could take ownership of that exercise, and it would be empowering. Each mat features a little stick man and then a graphic, and when they put those two pieces of information together, the graphics may be arrows, footprints, that sort of thing, handprints, telling you what to do and how to do it. So things like star jumps, rocket jumps, those sorts of things are shown on the mat.
I see. When I saw the word Action Mats, I thought immediately there was going to be some sort of Uber Bluetooth connection model and huge video and lots of tech that as a primary colleague wouldn't be able to set up, or at least find challenging to set up. So I'm delighted to hear how old school this is.
The ultimate analogue here. We're slight imposters, but
I don't think there's anything to moan about.
It's the yin and yang.
There's no problem at all with that. So how would it work in a classroom? How would I deploy this? Is it a whole class activity, simultaneous activity?
It's a whole class activity. We've been told it's one of the quickest resources to deploy that people have come across. So children will come into the hall or the gym space, they'll pick up a mat as they come in, they'll find a space, they'll look at the mat, see what it tells them to do, and they'll start moving. All of their classmates will be coming in and doing the same, and before you know it, the whole class is moving.
But it's not the same activities. This is something I picked up as well. So these are different mats with different activities on.
Each mat has a different activity printed on it.
That's a game changer, because normally you would do this as a single classroom activity. The whole class are doing the star jumps, for an example.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing the same thing at the same time. I like the fact that this is self-paced and pupil-led.
Correct.
I like that.
Correct, absolutely so. So once everybody's warmed up, then they can sit down, take a drink, and then the teacher can explain what the rest of the lesson's going to look like.
Nice.
So there's no waiting around when the kids come in, there's no pushing and shoving and so on. Everybody's moving straight away. Then the teacher will look at our concession to technology, by the way, is that we do have an app for the teachers, which is simply a library of all the lessons that we've created.
Excellent.
So they can either have a PDF book, PDF downloads, or a book, but generally it's simpler on an app. The teacher will look at the next configuration to set the mats up in, and then get the children to set the mats up in that configuration to produce perhaps a team building game, a problem solving challenge, an educational game. So we just move the mats around to create new lessons.
I love it. In a world of overcomplication and AI, it's refreshing to go. It's like here's a deck of cards, and we're going to use them in a different way than you've ever conceived possible to use them.
So, yeah.
Good. Are you having a good bet?
We're having a wonderful bet. We've got orders from Denmark, India, Cardiff, and also in the UK.
I'm sure the Welsh are delighted to be up there.
Absolutely so. And the thing about the Welsh actually is we've got a few sales in Welsh speaking schools, because they don't have to compromise on their language.
Nope.
They don't have to speak in English to do this. They're an inherently international resource. Kids from anywhere in the world can use them.
And there's plenty of creativity in the Welsh curriculum at the moment. You can't say that.
There is indeed. There's a big emphasis on health and well-being.
Indeed, there is. That's Graham Donaldson for you as well. Jonathan, it's been great to speak with you. That's an amazing product. Where can folks go if they're listening to this online?
We are at stand. Oh, sorry. Oh, if
they're
online.
Fine,
sorry.
Do the physical as well. Yep. Although this won't go out till 3 o'clock, so it'll be a tad late for folk to make a beeline for the show. You'd have to be local.
But it's simply www.actionmats.co.uk.
It's as simple as the product itself, and I like that. Jonathan, great to chat with you.
Wonderful. Thank you for the time.
And that's what I like to call. What's up, y'all? I'm Beyonce. What's up? This is Adam from Maroon 5.
This is Kings of Leon.
Are you ready?
NetSupport Radio.
Listen to me now.
Listeners, my next guest is Mark Solomons, who's the CEO of Wellbe. I can imagine what you do, Mark, but let me know about the company. What's up?
Yeah, so we focus exclusively on the well-being of staff, and we help school leaders to more systematically focus on it, measure it and improve it. Lots of schools out there do things on well-being, they talk about being important, but if they're honest with themselves, they're a bit ad hoc about it, they run ad hoc surveys. Our stand here talks about cakes and yoga, actually culture cakes and yoga, and a lot of schools focus on that cakes and yoga piece, the staff activities. We're very much around culture. Nothing wrong with cakes and staff activities, but if they're what your strategy is based on or all you do, then you probably have a problem. So we're all about how do you build foundations, a bit like a house, and get those well-being foundations right.
You've mentioned cake and yoga, two of my most favourite things. No, I'm on the page now, absolutely with you. What does it look like from a school's perspective? Is it a portal? Is it a box? Is it a collection? What is it?
So it's a digital product. You have a dashboard. So if you're a trust, you've got your own dashboard. Every individual school within that trust would have a dashboard. If you're an individual school, you've got your own dashboard. Very easy to use, very intuitive. We're multi-award winning. We get fantastic feedback because we can't do it for you. Nobody can delegate the improvement of well-being. It has to be led by those leaders, but we can certainly make it as easy as possible for you. And we talk about ourselves as not a survey company, which people find interesting because, of course, we run a survey and it starts with a survey and it's an evidence-built survey. It's independently evaluated for its psychometric qualities. It's recognising the DFE Education New Staff Wellbeing Charter. It's not ours. It comes from the Health and Safety Executive and looks at their management standards, so you can be absolutely confident in what it delivers for you. And we benchmark and create your baseline so you know exactly where you are. But the biggest difference for us over a survey company, and why I say we're not, is we filter your results to a granular level so you know who's doing well and who you can celebrate and share practice with, and we often forget about that, and who perhaps needs your biggest support. And we don't just give you loads of data, though. For those of you who love data, there's plenty of it. We actually suggest and recommend actions that you can take. So we make it as easy as it possibly can to do that. And the final bit we do is because we recognise that you also want to help people take responsibility for their own well-being, as well as help leaders in your setting build well-being to culture. We've built a 100+ resource toolkit of interactive training, of bite-sized learning that people can kind of tap into. So that helps with implementation. So for us, it's the magic happens after the survey. So if all you want is a survey, we're probably not right for you. If you want something that actually will help you improve well-being in your multi-academy trust, your setting, and in an evidence-proven and systematic way, and one that you can track and know the impact of your actions, then we just might be the right solution for you.
I'd say the survey is absolutely essential. I mean, Ofsted will ask you, what have you spent your money on? Have you got value for money? I mean, you can't measure that if you haven't got a survey. So I'd say that was an essential tool in the kit there. Fascinating. I don't know anything like this available in the market, so congratulations for bringing something innovative. The timing is absolutely spot on. It's essential that folks can track, measure and improve well-being of our staff. It is absolutely essential. Mark, thanks for joining us. Oh, just before I go, where do folks click and find you?
So there's a couple of things. So wellbe.co.uk is our website. The other thing we're doing for those people who want to have a little taste of us as well, particularly around the toolkit, we built this fantastic resource set, and we are also giving away half of that to every educator in the country for free, teacher, support staff, leader, because whilst we want to sell to all schools, sometimes getting through the school and the procurement process can take a bit of time, and clearly we're in crisis in this country in many ways, so every bit of help we can give, some fantastic resources. I am biased, but actually we found someone who's a whiz with the tech, who up until 2 years ago was a primary school head teacher. So he's built our toolkit with content that I've shared and other experts like Kelly Hannigan that you'll know from MindWorks Matters. So there's something for everybody there. So come and join us and help yourself and help your staff. And I'd love to have some conversations.
Perfect. I'm delighted you got Kelly involved as well. Mark, thanks for joining us. Good to hear from you.
No, thank you very much. Good to be here.
Well, it's 26 minutes to 5, folks, and that is amazing. Elvis Presley, the man himself. Have a lovely Easter break, and we'll catch you again soon.